There are a lot of pitfalls when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency. Pitfalls that can completely eliminate your gains, or worse, leave you licking your wounds from the losses. Now, I don't mean to scare you, but this is just the nature of the crypto market. However, if you're able to avoid some of the most common crypto mistakes, then you already have half the battle won. So, what are these mistakes? Well, that's exactly what I'll be covering in this video. I'll be taking you through 10 of the most common yet catastrophic mistakes that crypto users make. Mistakes that are pretty easy to avoid if only you know about them. I'll also be sharing some of my own personal crypto investing tips, so you definitely don't want to miss those. Did you know that in order to become a financial advisor, you need a Level 4 qualification in financial advice recognized by the UK FCA? No, I didn't know that either. Which therefore means that I don't know the first thing about financial advice. This video is for educational purposes only, and you should always DYOR. Now, if you're wondering what in the name of Satoshi just went down, you must be new here. My name is Guy, and I find crypto divine. On this channel, I explore news, reviews, and overviews. If it's to do with crypto, then I'm your bro. So if you want to feast on the highest quality crypto content on the web, gently tap that subscribe button. You may also want to ping that bell to make sure you know when the next one drops. I do tend to drop it like it's hot. Okay, that's quite enough of that. Let's get going. I'm going to start with perhaps the most fundamental mistake that newbies in crypto make, and that is investing without a plan. Investing without any sort of consideration as to how you want to achieve your goals. Now, when I speak to people, 90% of them say that they want to invest in crypto to make money and to further their financial position. Firstly, I admire their honesty, and secondly, there's nothing wrong with that. However, you cannot mistake an objective for a strategy. A strategy is important because it will help to inform your investing decisions in a relatively consistent and pre-programmed way. It limits you from making quick and sometimes emotional decisions when trading particular coins. Most often, it is deviations from well-thought-out strategies that see newbies get wrecked in the crypto markets. So, how do you go about devising such a strategy? Well, firstly, you need to establish those goals. You have to ask yourself what you would like to achieve. And these goals can't just be vague, they also have to be well-defined and measurable. They should also be developed in accordance with your risk tolerance. If you're young and have few commitments, then you can afford to invest a larger proportion of your net worth into crypto than a person who's older and has many mouths to feed. Whatever your financial position in life, you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Despite having the overwhelming majority of my net worth in crypto, I'm still able to survive were it to go to zero tomorrow. Oh, and the only thing worse than investing more than you can afford to lose is taking on debt to invest in crypto. Just don't do it. If you're looking for relatively slow and consistent returns, then you can't go wrong with a simple HODL strategy, holding coins for the long term. You'd also want to make sure that the allocation to this HODL strategy has a higher weighting to some of the more established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. If, however, you're looking to take on more risk, then you can consider a higher weighting towards altcoins. If you're able to pick the best performing altcoins, then your yearly EV on that allocation could be higher than a buy and hold strategy. Now, I won't go into portfolio allocation in detail here, but if you want more guidance on that, then you can check out my recent video where I talk about my personal portfolio and its allocation. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Anywho, once you have an investment strategy, you need to make sure that you stick with it. You cannot be sure of its long-term effectiveness if you're constantly chopping and changing. If your strategy is all over the shop and constantly changing, you won't be able to isolate exactly why it was not going according to plan. So I usually tell people to measure the performance of their strategy annually. You can then measure your returns and project them out in accordance with your goals. Okay, so that's the first fundamental mistake. Start with a good strategy and you are already miles ahead of the rest of the market. The next mistake that newbies tend to make before they invest in crypto is that they use the wrong exchange. And when it comes to choosing the right exchange, there are a number of factors that are often overlooked. Firstly, and most importantly, you have to find one that is safe. I can't tell you how much grief I have heard from people who banged all their funds into some bucket shop exchange which turned out to be a scam. Just a little bit of research goes a long way here. I would also be skeptical of those paid ads you see on sites like CMC, Cointelegraph, etc. These are not impartial. Try scanning the forums and looking into what people on Reddit have to say. If there is a worrying trend there, then don't touch it. You also need to make sure that the exchange has the coins or tokens you're looking to trade. Now, this is all easily verifiable on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. You need to consider what funding options the exchange has too. Does it support your currency, and if so, how do you deposit? Oh, and while we're on the subject of exchange funding or withdrawals, you should make extra sure that your bank won't be a pain about it. Some banks are well known for flagging large crypto transactions. Pro tip: try sending funds in smaller chunks and do test withdrawals before sending larger payments. There is nothing more infuriating than a bank holding a deposit because of suspicious activity. Back to the exchange though, you also want to make sure that it has the required functionality. Most exchanges these days have both advanced and basic user interfaces. However, some are more user-friendly than others. Now, I of course can't go into all the exchanges right here, but feel free to watch my recent video on the best places to buy Bitcoin, linked to right here. Oh, one more very important thing people don't tend to think about when using an exchange is the fees that they could be paying over the long run. From simple trading fees to deposit and withdrawal fees and other hidden costs. These can eat into your profitability in the long run. And on that point, I happen to have negotiated an exclusive fee discount for my followers over on Binance. So, if you want 20% off all trading fees over there, then check out the links in the description. So, assuming you've found the right exchange, you need to start thinking about what coins or tokens you're going to buy. And this is where your own research will come in handy. A lot of the times that I see a newbie getting wrecked in the crypto market is because they fail to do their own research. They rely on the tips they get from friends and influencers here on YouTube. I've also noticed that whenever I cover a project, people immediately rush to buy the crypto without even hearing what I have to say. Now, this is unfortunate as it creates a bad habit. You should always make sure you know exactly why you're about to invest in a particular coin or token. That's why the smart act of DYOR is the most underrated investment edge that you can get over all the other people who are just jumping into the markets. Not only does it allow you to take full ownership over your investment decisions, but it also means that you can research some of those hidden gems that other investors have not even heard of. Those hidden gems that the YouTubers and influencers may not even have landed on. Finding these gems yourself really is the best way for you to 10, 20, or even 100x those returns. And not only does doing your own research pay multiples in the long run, but it also means that you greatly improve your long-term education in this space. Now, if you're keen to get on this DYOR train, then you will no doubt want a handy guide that tells you exactly how to do it. Well, thankfully, there is a pretty comprehensive one I know of on a channel called Coinb. Oh wait, that's one of mine. Top right. Okay, so now you know the virtues of doing your own research and how it can help you find those hot coins. But the only way that you can secure those gains in the long run is by managing your risk. And that brings me on to the next mistake that most investors make. Taking on too much risk when investing in crypto is a massive no-no. This is because it leads you to make decisions which are suboptimal and go against the strategy that you've defined initially. Essentially, when you're taking too much risk in the crypto market, you tend to make emotional decisions because of the high stakes that are involved. Hence, it is imperative that you have a risk management strategy. Now, this will of course depend on what investing strategy you have. If you're just buying for a long-term hodl, it's a lot easier to manage. You have invested what you're comfortable with and you're holding it. However, if you're more active in your trading, then you're going to have to hone your risk management. Always leave stop losses for the trades that you're entering. The crypto markets move fast, way faster than you are able to react to them. Pro tip: never add to a losing trade. Again, this is investing based on emotion and is akin to gambler's ruin. You're merely chasing losses, and it's a strategy based on hope, not reasoned analysis. Oh, and for the love of Bitcoin, please try to avoid high leverage, especially if you're a newbie. I know that leverage trading is often shilled as some magical method for you to multiply your money, but the reality is far from that. If you don't know what you're doing, you are way more likely to get liquidated from these over-leveraged trades. Now, if you absolutely have to use leverage, then you can consider what are called leveraged tokens. These basically give you some leverage on the upside while limiting your downside exposure to the cost of the token. Okay, so that is risk management if you're an active trader. However, what if you're looking for the long-term hodl? Are there certain mistakes these hodlers make that cost them dearly? Indeedy. If you're going to be holding crypto for the long run, then I highly encourage you to store it offline and away from the exchanges. Yes, you may have found a good exchange with a solid track record. However, you can never fully guarantee the security of your funds on an exchange. The exchange could get hacked or your account could get hacked. There have also been numerous examples of exchanges that hold back user funds and ask them to complete onerous KYC. All of that can be avoided in the beginning if you've taken your crypto offline. Now, while storing your crypto offline in a software wallet is generally considered safe, there are still numerous risks that come from these. Malware, lost laptops, corrupted hard drives, and keyloggers are some of these potential risks. That is why I personally like to hold my cryptocurrency in a hardware wallet. These are devices that are stored in a cold environment as they're not connected to the internet. All key signing is done on the device and your private keys never leave the device. So they're almost unhackable. If you're looking for a list of some of the best hardware wallets, well, you are in luck. I've actually completed an updated video on the safest devices. And you know where to go to get it. But seriously, folks, invest in a hardware wallet. It's a small insurance policy that you have to pay against losing those millions in future crypto. Now, irrespective of whether you're leaving your funds on an exchange, storing them in a software wallet, or hodling in a hardware device, you're going to want to manage your backups. And this brings me on to the next mistake people tend to make. I know. Keeping hard copy backups of all your seed phrases and passwords can be cumbersome. But hear me out. When I started investing in crypto, I used to have a number of different software wallets that held different cryptocurrencies. Now, I never backed these up and instead saved the passwords in an encrypted file on my PC. Yes, I know, what was I thinking? Anywho, roll forward to early January of 2018 and someone stole that laptop. On it were the passwords to some wallets for some really exotic altcoins. Now, many turned out to be worthless, but there was a reasonable chunk of Ant shares there, now NEO. Because I did not back up my wallet seeds on hard copy, I lost access to all of that NEO. And with each passing day, as NEO climbs in price, it eats me up a little inside. Now, thankfully, because it was encrypted, the uncouth scallywag who nicked my man bag can't enjoy my NEO gains either. However, I could have avoided all of that if I just backed up my seeds on a hard copy format. There are also so many other stories out there of people who have lost access to wallets, sometimes with millions in them, because they don't have their passwords. And it's not just wallets you should make backups for. You should also consider it for all exchange accounts. For example, I assume you use two-factor authentication when accessing your exchange account. However, how many of you write down the backup code required to reset this two-factor connection? Yeah, if you happen to lose your phone or replace it, then you'll lose access to the codes generated on the device. You won't be able to log into your accounts without them, and the only other way to reset it would be through a complicated verification process that the exchange uses. Just write down those codes. It's so much more simple. Of course, if you do happen to back up this information in a hard copy format, I do not need to tell you the importance of keeping that out of sight from other people. Get yourself a safe deposit box. These are actually pretty cheap to rent, as all you're storing is a piece of paper. But that piece of paper could be worth millions in a few years, so it seems like quite a no-brainer to me. Okay, so you know the importance of backing up your seeds and passwords. However, let's assume that you've been hodling that crypto for years and are looking to send it to an exchange in order to sell it and realize those gains. It's this step that I also tend to see countless hodlers tripping up on. Sending funds to an exchange on an unsupported blockchain is perhaps one of the most common mistakes that I get asked about by my followers. Now, you can't blame them. For those that are still new to the crypto markets, they may not know that USDT is present on at least 4 other chains. They may not know the distinct difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash addresses. Therefore, it is imperative that you double-check that the address you're sending crypto to is on the supported chain. i.e., if you're sending an ERC20 token, make sure it's an Ethereum address. The same goes for a number of other native currencies. In most cases, funds that are sent to these addresses cannot be recovered. Exchanges also make it clear that should you do this, they will not reimburse you for the lost funds. Oh, and this then just brings me on to another really important tip. Always do a test transaction. Seriously, folks, you can't go wrong with this. I also do it myself on occasion, despite having been in crypto for over 5 years. This is especially the case if I was making a large transfer and I wanted to make extra certain all the parameters were correct. Yes, you do have to pay a bit more in fees, but all you need to do is send a faulty transaction once, thereby losing your crypto forever, to realize how much of a bargain that test transaction really is. Now, let's assume that you've had a really successful year investing in crypto. Your stack has shot up in value and you're looking to realize some of those mad gains. Well, that's great. But you're not the only person who's interested in those gains. Yep, investing in crypto without consideration as to the tax implications of it is something that far too many newbies still do these days. Similarly, you should not think that you're smarter than the taxman and can hide those gains. These chaps have heavily invested in blockchain auditing software, and some of them have dedicated teams that track crypto tax evasion. And the consequences for failure to comply can be way more costly than the tax you would originally have had to pay on that crypto. So, the long and the short of it is that if you're taking profit on that crypto, make sure that you do it with a consideration to the tax implications. Something as simple as when you decide to take that profit could greatly impact on your tax bill, as it shifts tax bands. Of course, you may even be in a situation in which you do not have to pay tax on those gains. You may reside in a country that has favourable crypto tax regulations, or other loopholes that may even reduce your tax burden. Those who are able to effectively utilise these legal tools to avoid tax are already miles ahead of those that are clueless. Now, of course, tax is a hellishly complicated topic as it is. Different countries have different tax regimes, and telling exactly which laws apply to your specific situation can be very tricky. But I do like a challenge, which is why I did a separate video on crypto tax considerations. And you know where to go for that magic. Either way, if you're declaring crypto tax this year, then I recommend that you take your research off YouTube and speak to an accountant or tax planner in your country. I am even less of an accountant than I am a financial advisor. Now, despite not being a tax, legal, or financial advisor, I can still give you some practical advice. And that would be not to make the next crypto mistake on my list: talking about your crypto. No one has to know how much crypto you hold. In fact, crypto was invented with the express purpose of giving the holder some anonymity when it comes to their finances. But it's not just a philosophical argument as to why you should keep hush-hush when it comes to your crypto stack. There are also some very real-world risks that come from such a braggadocious attitude with it. Braggadocious, isn't that a great word? Is it a word? Well, I'm using it. Crypto is an asset that a thief can quite easily steal, as all they require is a password. There have been numerous stories in the past about how victims have had their crypto extorted from them. I can bet you that those criminals that stole that crypto didn't happen to do it by chance. They will have known from an external source somewhere that the user had that Ledger wallet stashed in their sock drawer, for instance. And it's not just about bragging in person. You also have to be careful about what you post online. I have seen far too many people post in forums talking about how much Bitcoin they bought. Either that or they will post screenshots of their wallet balances. You will actually be surprised as to how much info can be gleaned from your online profiles. A determined snoop can very easily find some identifying information from your Reddit profile, for example. They can then combine this info with other traces that you've left online and find your real identity. Once that's happened, they can very easily execute the horrid $5 wrench attack on you. Seriously, folks, it's not worth it. If you do happen to be lucky enough to have a lot of crypto, don't flex it. Now, the final mistake that I want to talk about today is perhaps the most common crypto mistake of them all, and that is falling for a scam. Despite how far crypto has come, there are still a hell of a lot of scams online. From Ponzi schemes to giveaways, from pump and dumps to private key phishing. These scams proliferate because people fall for them so easily. It's a lot more alluring to make money the easy way than to actually do the hard work of researching promising projects. Crypto scams also particularly infuriate me, as there have been hundreds of impersonators that have tried to use my name and image to scam followers. And sadly, some of them have fallen for it, either through fake Telegram channels, WhatsApp groups, or Twitter profiles. Scams are also the reason why I refuse to run ads on this channel. Now, apparently, I'm losing quite a lot of money from not running these ads, but I really can't risk scam ads being presented to my viewers. Plus, I don't like watching ads, and I wouldn't foist them upon you either. I'd far rather just sell you some swag crypto merch. Now, when it comes to all the scams that are out there, it requires an entire video dedicated to them. So thankfully for you folks, I've done just that, and it's in the usual spot there in the top right. That all being said, the quickest rule of thumb that I use to ascertain whether something is a scam or not is by asking myself the simple question: is this too good to be true? 99% of all the scams out there can be pretty easily filtered out when you apply this test. Easy come, easy go. That's it for my list of the top mistakes to make in crypto. As your crypto captain, I hope that these will help you guys navigate those sometimes stormy crypto seas. But now I'm keen to hear from you. Are there mistakes that I would have left out that you would like me to know about? Have you folks got any questions? Let your fingers do the talking in the comments section below. If you did enjoy that content, then I have got an extra treat for you. It's my dedicated socials page where I have links to all the other places that you can follow me. These include my Insider Telegram channel, where you'll find my daily market analysis, my Instagram and TikTok for behind-the-scenes views and video updates, and of course, the crème de la crème, the pièce de résistance, my weekly email newsletter. This is a once-weekly email where I give you my personal insights, share some tips, as well as the breakdown of my personal portfolio. That's all linked to in my socials page below. Finally, if you found this content worthy, then turn that like button blue to let me know too. Don't forget to subscribe and ping that bell to make sure that you don't miss my upcoming videos. They simply cannot be missed. That's all for today, folks. Toodaloo.